Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm Colin Weston with ModGolf Live. Thank you for joining us today. I hope your week is starting off well. And hey, we got some good energy here today, and we're going to be talking to someone that I've been back and forth with for a couple of years now, and that is Alex Van Alen, who is the founder and CEO of FlingGolf. So if you're not familiar with all the good things that FlingGolf is doing, in essence, they are creating a brand new sport that, the way I like to look at it, they coexist with traditional golf, don't compete with traditional golf, kind of like snowboarding on a ski hill. So we're going to be digging into that, all the good things here. Going to bring Alex up in just 1 second. But the one thing I wanted to mention, hey, if we can just hold on for a second here, I've got a bit of an audio problem here in the background here. I got too many screens going at once. So let me take care of that. There we go. Bad enough hearing my voice once. When I hear it twice, maybe that's probably too much for everybody here. Okay, so that's the beauty of being live here, and I'm also the producer of this show. So we just have to figure it out as we go. All right. So as I like to do on ModGolf Live, since we're joining you Monday morning, I'm in Vancouver here, so it's 9 a.m. If you're joining us like Alex is, he's on the East Coast, so it's noontime. If you're having lunch or wherever you are around the world, thank you for joining us. And one thing I wanted to mention here before I start with my Monday morning musings, the things that I've seen that have gone on in the world of golf or just in life in general, or things that people have put out there also to me. We're just going to comment on these. That's the way we're going to start off the week here. But the first thing I'm going to mention here is, we are live and interactive here on our YouTube channel. So, hey, if you're joining us live, as I've already done in the chat here, I've already said, hey, welcome. Great to have you here. Let us know where you're joining us from, and let us know who you are. And as I mentioned, our guest today is Alex Van Alen here, the founder of FlingGolf. So, hey, if you've got any questions, this is the thing. We want to make this live and interactive. So type a question in chat. I'll pull it up. I'll ask them. I'll make you a star, part of your 15 minutes of fame. That's what we like to do here. And hey, if you're not watching live here, thank you for watching on our YouTube channel here. And hey, if you like what we're doing here on our YouTube channel here, as you can see down below here, hey, give us some love here. Subscribe to our channel. We've managed to get, we've broken the 1,000 subscriber barrier, so that unlocks a few other things on YouTube for us. So thank you everyone for subscribing. And hey, if you like the type of conversations we have here on ModGolf and ModGolf Live and the ModGolf podcast, hey, show us a little love here. Give us a thumbs up and please subscribe. So, okay. So back over what I was talking here with my Monday morning musings. The thing I'm going to talk about here just is what we've been doing on ModGolf. And that is, we just wrapped up our season 16. So those 12 episodes, we do 2 seasons a year here on the podcast that we've been doing since 2017. Hard to believe it's almost our 8-year anniversary, almost 200 episodes in. So with that particular episode, we did a recap of the dozen awesome, diverse influencers and innovators in the golf space that I had the pleasure of talking to. Some previous guests, people that I've talked to a couple of years ago, including Jay Karen and Joe Ossel on there. Both of them, over 5-6 years ago. So I had an update with them of all the good things that they're doing and some awesome new people that we had on the show there too. So yeah. We're also starting our new season. I've just recorded another batch of episodes and going to be doing more in March also. So that's going to be exciting. We're going to be launching season 17 in a couple weeks' time here, following up a couple more conversations I had at the PGA show back in January, where Alex was also on. He was there. We were both so busy that we didn't have a chance to talk too much. We did run into each other, had a quick chat, and that's how life works. We managed to then say, hey, let's get you on ModGolf Live. He said, let's do that. And here we are today. So with all that, let's get things started here and bring him on. And there he is, Alex Van Alen. Alex, thanks for joining us today on ModGolf Live. How's it going?
It's going great, Colin. It's great to be here. And glad we ran into each other at the PGA show. I've been following you for a while, so it's good to finally meet you.
Yeah, love this. And that's the beauty of the PGA show. Over 40,000 people there. Yeah, in COVID, we spent way too much time on Zoom calls and the virtual thing, which we're doing today. There's nothing wrong with virtual. This is the beauty of the technology. But seeing people in real life and meeting you for the first time there, and just having that conversation in real life. That's what it's all about, and the beauty of the PGA show, which I want to ask you about your insights of the PGA show, but that's not what we're going to start off with here today, Alex. Where we're going to go here, of course, is talking about the origin story of FlingGolf. So why don't you give us an overview? I know you're pretty good at this now because a couple of
I've done a few
on Shark Tank. So you managed to get some big exposure on there. So, hey, why don't you start with explaining, because it is such a unique concept with FlingGolf. So can you walk us through that aha moment that sparked the creation of FlingGolf, and what was the inspiration in combining elements of golf with more athletic, action-oriented sports, which I know you've got a lacrosse background, so I know there's a bit of that sprinkled in. So yeah, tell us about the origin story of FlingGolf here.
Yeah, there's a little bit of lacrosse back there. I played some in high school, and yeah, no, that's the national sport of Canada, I believe, right?
You're very good. You're correct.
That's right. So yeah, anyway, played a little bit of lacrosse, and also played some golf. And you know, I guess so this is back a long time ago, right? I was playing with my brothers, and we would come home from lacrosse practice and take our lacrosse sticks and throw golf balls around the yard, counting, you know, from how many strokes you get to that tree or over the pond or whatever. And anyway, that was a long time ago. But then about 10 or 12 years ago, I sort of came up with this thought of like, how far could I throw a golf ball?
Right.
And, you know, lacrosse background helped a little bit. But I started putting all kinds of different pieces together, taking toys apart and other equipment apart and putting back together, you know, to see how far I could throw the golf ball. And that sort of, you know, picked up steam, and I really wanted to be able to build something that I get to throw 200 yards, because I figured if I could throw 200 yards, I could get out on the golf course and you know, represent pretty well and get out there and play with other golfers. So I did that, and I went through quite a bit. You know, it took about a year and a half to come up with it, but this is the FlingStick. This is what I came up with. So it's basically like a golf club, with the end being, instead of hitting the ball, you've got this channel to put a golf ball in, just goes right in there. So you do play with a golf ball, and you play on a golf course, but instead of hitting it, you're throwing it, and you just use the one FlingStick for the whole course. So you can do every shot. You can do shots obviously you can't do in golf, but you can do flop shots, bump and runs. And we've had contests of guys, you know, throwing it, and the longest recorded one is 252 yards. So you can really, you know, wing it out there. And that's sort of the beginning of it. And that was, came on to market. First conference was the National Golf Course Owners Association conference. Brought it out there, just wanted to get some feedback on it. And I got really positive feedback. And so we've been rolling ever since.
Nice. So there's foot golf, there is disc golf out there. So there have been other forms to be on the golf course, but both of those compete with existing golf space. You can't really play them at the same time. What I really like about FlingGolf, and I know I've heard you, well, we've talked about this, you use the snowboarding and skiing analogy also, this coexisting rather than competing. So let's talk about this, because I know you're very good at building partnerships with the NGCOA, so the golf course owners, because you have to get them on board.
Yeah.
I also know, I believe you've got to deal with ESPN, so as far as broadcasting, to really cast that net and raise awareness and energy about what you're doing. So let's start with the golf courses itself. I think a lot of people that are watching that aren't familiar with what you're doing, that needing to fling rather than swing, that I'm sure you get this pushback all the time. Oh, it's not real golf. It's interfering with, it takes too long. So hey, why don't you knock down those barriers? I'm sure you hear it all along. As far as on a course where you actually have people that are flinging and other people that are swinging, even within the same foursome.
Even within the same foursome. And that's the trick. That's the secret, right? Is that it's completely seamless with traditional golf. It even goes maybe a little bit faster. So it's not slowing anybody down, but you can play in that same foursome. So a lot of families go out, mom and dad can be playing golf, the kids can be playing fling golf, or friends that go out, you know, you can have two golfers, two fling golfers playing at the same time. So it's really that snowboarding, skiing analogy really works well. We don't have the same. Snowboarding originally had issues because they were sort of out of control and they were pushing things around. But we really don't have that problem. We're seamless with traditional golf. And so we really started with the golf course owners, knowing that we needed to educate them, and, you know, they were the key to the kingdom. Without their approval and their okay, we would have a hard time. But so we went and, you know, we talked to them a lot, and they got they were very interested, and they basically said, look, if you bring the players, we'll let them play. And this was back in 2015, 2016, pre-COVID. They were looking for players. They were really trying to save themselves. A lot of them, there were about 200 or 300 courses a year were failing at that point. So we came in at a good time. It was a good time to introduce a new sport, bring new people onto the course. And now we really transition more to player focus. So we really sell to the players now, and they drive the sport. And we still work with golf courses, and we still sell to golf courses, and resorts in particular do very well with it. But the players are really driving the sport.
Yeah, and I've seen on social media, and I've connected with some of them on LinkedIn, that you've got some people that are becoming kind of mini celebrities, or even past mini, like they've got some traction and some influence that are doing some interesting things and have the personality to go with it. So I want to dig into that in a minute here, along with what you're doing with your expanding with your World League here that you've got here. But I want to get back, I guess, myself as a designer, both in architecture and also in product. I'm going to give you the full screen again. If you can pull up the FlingStick again. So can you tell us a bit more about the design of that? How many iterations did you have to kind of work through this, and prototyping to kind of find out what was, and the testing that you did over the years? So I'm really intrigued with this.
Yeah, no, I wish I had some of my early prototypes here with me, but it took about 18 months, I'd say, to really go through from beginning to, getting to this point. And that was an interesting step forward. Was, I started with lacrosse sticks and stuff, but then I got a highlight basket. And I don't know if you're familiar with highlight, but it's a sport you put this big scoop on your hand.
Yes.
And it's like a basket, but anyway, they play it down in Florida and over in Spain and stuff, but you can throw a highlight ball really fast, and it just has that great trajectory and really shoots the ball out. So that was a big step forward in coming up with this design. This is sort of a mini highlight basket on the end of a stick. And it's just amazing. You can see this and you'd be like, oh, and then some people say, oh, you pop it down the middle 100 yards. Now this thing is firing the ball out of there, and it feels pretty awesome too. So that was a big step forward. And then, of course, we had to go through the industrial design process and then build the mold and do all that. But yeah, got to this point. We've changed it once or twice since then. Just little improvements. The putting pad is new, last few years, helps a lot with putting as well. And I'll show you, because people do ask, how do you putt with it?
Yeah, I was about to ask that question. Yeah.
Yeah. To use a traditional putting stroke, you use these pads on the side. So you strike it with that, but you put a weight in, and it gives it that more of a feel, because the head is very lightweight, which helps with throwing it. But you put this weight in there, and it gives you that more like a traditional putter feel. So it really helps on the green.
There we go. Yeah, one club. So as far as the speed, also, you're not digging back in your bag for different distances, and I'm sure you're losing very, very few balls, if any at all, when you're out there playing fling golf.
Yeah, it's funny. You're more accurate than golf. Generally speaking, you can fade it and draw it, but you can't hook it or slice it. So you're not going wild. You're not like doing a duck hook into the ponds or into the woods or something like that. So yeah, you're not using so many balls, and it does tend to move a little bit faster than golf, but not disruptingly faster. You can move right along if there's no one ahead of you, but that's true with golf too. But it's not going to slow anybody down. Put it that way.
Yeah. So once again, I'm sure you're still getting a lot of resistance, a lot of pushback, even though it sounds like over the years that is starting to fade a little bit. But you have taken a centuries-old sport and reimagined it in a way that appeals to a younger, more athletic crowd. So how do you balance honoring the traditional aspects of golf while infusing your modern twist in it? So as far as the messaging, so that people know that you are here to coexist and grow the game, that it's just a different version or a different variation of golf, rather than something that's looking to compete or overtake, if you will.
Yeah, people have asked me, are you disruptive? And from sort of entrepreneurial side, well, maybe a little bit, but it's not. From the golf course side, it's actually not disruptive at all. And our players are, almost to the last one that I can name, are very respectful of being on a golf course. Most of them have been on the golf course before. And this is just getting them out more, and they're moving right along with other golfers, and we really don't get much pushback. We get, not from the golf course owners, certainly. Sometimes they're traditional golfers like, that's just not golf and blah blah blah.
Yes,
but you get that, but whatever. but 99% of the time it's all fine. And when they see it being thrown, they usually want to try it out themselves.
Nice.
Yeah.
So not that I want to fixate too much on the FlingStick itself, but how much does that retail for if you wanted to buy one?
From about $129, and that's with a fiberglass shaft, so sort of entry level. It totally works great. It's a durable stick, and it's great for people to get started. Up to this one would be about $249, I think.
All right.
It's got the big grip. A lot of lacrosse players like that. Carbon fiber shaft, and then it's got the graphic heads. We have a lot of different designs for the heads.
Nice.
As far as the graphics go.
Love this. So I have noticed we are going to pull up your website to show some graphics here in a moment, and is with all your tournaments and your leagues now, you've got a men's division, a women's division, and a seniors division. I don't know if you've got a youth division yet. Yeah. So with the club, is there any customization that players do on themselves? And do you actually have any rules, like with, let's say for traditional golf with a driver, that the head could be no bigger than 460 cc's and a length of 44 inches? So how do you control that? What kind of rules and regulations do you have around so someone doesn't show up with a shaft that's 128 inches long to get extra leverage?
No. It's all got to be, all within the designs that we've created. You can change the graphics. They can change the grip if they want a different grip. A lot of people put a different putter grip on. That tends to work with super stroke. You'll see you guys out with that.
You
can change all that, but they can't change the shaft or the head. Can't change the putting, how you putt with it or anything like that. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, I have put it out here to people that are watching. We got about half a dozen people right now joining us. So, hey, if you got any questions, like I mentioned, put them in chat here. I will pull them up. But I also asked our Patreon community that we have, and that's growing. We got over 150 people or so on there. And I put it out to them last night. It's like, hey, you got any questions for Alex? I will ask them. And had one guy, we've got Hill. So here, I'll move over a little bit here. So I pulled up Hill's comment here, and I'll just read this, and you can read it too here. So, hey, he says he's an entrepreneur with 8 years experience in transportation. He's transitioned to the golf industry, developing a golf app offering electronic scorecard, F&B ordering functionality for users. So asking you, Alex, given your experience working closely with golf courses through FlingGolf, like to get your thoughts. What are the biggest challenges you face when dealing with golf courses? And what do you think the most pressing problem for golf courses need to solve right now?
Look, golf courses are always trying to fill there's a lot of popular golf courses right now, after post-pandemic. You see a lot of people playing, but they're always still trying to fill those empty tee times.
Yes.
And anything anybody can do for that. I mean, if you're, I think of golf courses as farmers sometimes, and if they've got empty space or space between the rows that you can fill somehow, that's just gravy for them, right? That's just extra. They don't have to do anything more, anything extra. So if you can figure out a way to do that, and I think we've done that with FlingGolf, we're bringing in new players that fill those empty tee times. So that's certainly where I would focus my efforts.
Nice. So with golf courses, can you give us a kind of a success story where you've managed to, with the operation side of a golf course, where before they were resistant and not getting on board, and now they're super fans of what you do, and perhaps they even have some FlingSticks in the pro shop that you can rent out. So can you tell us a really positive transformational story at a golf course where they were really resistant and now they're fans?
Yeah, I'd say not too many are resistant, have even ever been resistant. There are some who, if you go in, a player will show up and they'll say, no, you can't play here. It's usually because it's someone who's not in a decision-making capacity.
Right.
And it's easier to say no than it is yes. But ultimately you go back and then the owner's like, well, why didn't you take their $45 if they're going to come play and they're not going to cause any problems? So it always ends up turning to a yes. As far as successful golf courses, resorts have done very well with it. And it's because it's not the high-end golf course resorts, but family-friendly resorts.
Right.
Where people come and they, family comes, they may have other things to do, but the dad wants to go play golf. Now he can bring the kids with him and go play, give them a couple FlingSticks and then get out there, because it's really easy to get started. That's sort of one of our selling points. So that's, Massanutten Resort in Virginia has done fantastic with it. Skamania Lodge in Vancouver, Washington has done really well.
Right.
Welk Resort down in San Diego has done very well with it. So resorts are a great place. There's family resorts.
That makes complete sense. So, hey, like I said, we got people joining us here. Hey, I got one of your fling golfing tribe here. We got Gary joining us, and he's just doing a bit of a shout out saying he loves what you're doing here. So hey, Gary, thanks sorry, with Bruce Leroy. So
Bruce Leroy is a stage name for all our World League FlingGolf players have their WWE names, their stage names, and so he goes by Bruce Leroy.
There we go. So, like I said, you got lots of fans out there. You got lots of players. So, one thing we're going to do here, because I want to learn about how you're with youth programs and all that you've got going up. But what I'm going to do now here, we're going to pull up your website here. So we can run through a couple of things, including your World FlingGolf League and all these good things. So I'll leave it to you. I will just scroll through this. So yeah, okay. Why don't you tell me where you want to go, what you want to look at here, and maybe tell us a few things.
Yeah, well, this is a great place to start. This is our home video, and this is our first ESPN, taken from our first ESPN coverage. ESPN gave us a shout when they saw something that we did on YouTube, and that, hey, if you're gonna put a tournament together, we'd like to partner with you on that. And that was 2021. They called us. We put a tournament together in 2022. That was the first World League FlingGolf tournament, and they filmed it, aired it in that summer, a little later that summer. They boiled it down to half an hour and aired it that summer, and it was fantastic. So we've been back with ESPN every year for the last 3 years, and we'll be again this year as well.
Nice. So there it is. So you had mentioned earlier that you do have different variations of the club itself there. So with different shafts and different price points there. So why don't you run us through the 4 that you have there? Yeah.
So we got the Launch is that's the fiberglass shaft. So not quite as lightweight as the Stinger, the Ballistic, but still a great place to start. A lot of people start there, it's lower price point, get into the game. And then when you really want to up your game a little bit, you move up to the Stinger, the Ballistic. The Stinger is a carbon fiber shaft, so does the Ballistic, and the Ballistic has a longer, bigger grip to it. So the guys that can really haul it out there, if you can get that head speed around really fast, you want to go with the Ballistic. And then the Signature Series is 2 of our top players. That's their own design for the sticks.
All right.
So we got Kenzo, who's our first World League FlingGolf champion, and then Austin Eversole, who is our current World League FlingGolf #1 men's player. And I can't remember how many tournaments he's won, but quite a few. I think he's been the #1 for like 2 years. So a lot of people aiming for him this year.
Got it. Got to ask you about the name. Well, the name FlingGolf is self-evident, but as far as the company with New Swarm, I'm very curious as far as what that reference is and where the name of that came from.
Yeah, we wanted to always be new. Like, we're from Boston, so we see New Balance, which is kind of cool. And it's just, we want to always be new. Even 100 years from now, we want to be new. But also the Swarm part is just, we feel like we're building this community, that we're coming together, and we're going out to the golf courses, and we're bringing a lot of fun with us. And so it's a big swarm, and community is such a huge part of this. Like that's everything, right? That's where we focus all our efforts, is growing the community, giving them the opportunities that they, to shine, whether that's a mom going out with her son for the first time on a golf course because he's got a FlingStick, or a disabled vet going out there and being able to get it back on the golf course after his injuries. Or it's our top players and them getting sponsorships. We got the league, and we're showing them on ESPN and giving them that platform to really shine, because that's good for everybody, right? What's good for us is what's good for them. What's good for them is what's good for us. It's just growing the whole thing.
Love this. Okay, talk about the league. I'm going to pull this up now here too. So hey, tell us about what's going on here, not only with the World League FlingGolf, and I believe this is going international now. You must be excited. Where is this going to go in 1, 3, and 5 years, just as far as the potential and where you'd like to see the growth and the scaling?
No, it's great. I think it's taken off. I mean, we started with 2 tournaments in 2022, did 5 in 23, 5 again in 24, plus a Britain's Cup. We have a guy over there who's running the FlingGolf UK chapter. He's really started.
All right.
Yeah, he's doing a phenomenal job. He owns 3 golf courses and manages 3 golf courses. And then this year we're doing 11 tournaments in the U.S. and a Britain's Cup, second one. The Britain's Cup is really cool. It's like the Ryder Cup. So we're sending a Team USA over there to play against a team. It's actually Team Europe this year. And it's going to get a lot of coverage over there, and I'm sure we'll see it over here as well. That's in June. So as far as 1, 3, 5 years, I mean, it's just more than doubled this year, and it's just going to keep on doing that. I think we're trying to keep up with the demand of people who want to play.
Got it. So I can see that you're dialed in, that you understand there. It's about storylines and personalities
Yeah.
also. So I've connected with both of these guys
Yeah.
on social media here. So tell us about Showtime in Scranton.
Yeah, Scantron. Austin's Showtime has been the number one player for quite a while, and Scantron's been right on his heels since he came on tour. And so it's this sort of it's this great rivalry they've got going. It's funny because they were teammates. We have clubs, we have teams in FlingGolf, and they were originally teammates, but then they sort of split apart, and they go at it. Most tournaments they're right up there at the top. Scantron's right on his heels, and I think Sam's won. He says 4 times men's champion. So they both won their fair share, but they're sort of our Larry Bird, Magic Johnson duo right now, and it's fun to watch them go at it.
Nice. And I see with Scantron there with Sam, he's got the Odin hat on. We're great friends and supporters of Odin Golf and everything that Jordan has been doing there. And yeah, love Odin. So sounds like you've got some partnerships going on there that help him move you forward.
Yeah, we got some good partnerships. Actually, Encore Golf has been a sponsor of the league last year. Ice Shaker, which is Chris Gronkowski's company, another Shark Tank company. And then, you can see we've got the men's division, the women's division. We have a master's division. And so we're really building it out as much as we can. We're really excited about where the women's division is going.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you, pulling up both Bird of Prey and Reggie Queen here. So yeah, talk about that as far as be able to onboard more women, getting people involved here. I see you've got quite a diverse group of players here, just as far as kind of racial backgrounds also. So yeah, tell me about that as far as how you're kind of leveling the playing field or making the game more inclusive through FlingGolf.
Yeah, I think that's, it's just happening. It's honestly, a lot of people are attracted to it. A lot of people from different backgrounds are attracted to it. I think we lean a little more blue collar than traditional golf. But the greatest thing is we go to these tournaments, or we put these tournaments on, and it's the community, and there's politically different sides of the spectrum, and demographically and racially even, and everything. And they come together and have the best time. And I get so excited about that, because the world is so divisive, and sport can really bring people together, and this community really comes together, and they all have a great time together. So it's really fun to see that.
Yeah. Love that. Okay. Well, I see we got Bruce Leroy here is, putting it out there. So there he's actually putting demands on you here. He's putting you on the spot here because we've recorded this now. So apparently he wants that MVP FlingStick. I don't know. Has he earned that FlingStick? What do you think?
Well, Gary was the, we had our last year's ESPN event was a skills challenge, and Gary came out on top. He was part of the team, but he just showed his stuff, like just stepped up to the moment. And it was sort of a, short game, long game, mid game, and really an accuracy and skills. And Gary really stepped up and just crushed it there. So we'll see. Maybe we'll get him a stick.
There you go. So I want to learn more about the kind of the educational side or even training, because when we've had a conversation, you say, hey, it's FlingGolf is easy to start playing, but it's just like a lot of things. There's a lot of skills and it takes time to master, I'm sure, especially with the short game and the nuance and even the putting. So do you now have do you have coaching? Do you actually have training sessions? How does that work? How do you onboard people for the first time? Let's say someone that's never played before, to have their first FlingGolf experience before they get on the course. Tell us about that as far as what you have even for coaching.
We have a lot of ambassadors, and they're volunteer ambassadors throughout the country, and we've got them up on our map, and they're just players who want to show off the game. And so if someone's buying a stick and they're Chicago or near Chicago, they can look on our map and find someone near them to go play with. So that's one of the best ways we are able to do that. We're also building out a youth FlingGolf program, something I'm really excited about this year, where we're going to be reaching more high schools, more colleges, more recreation groups, and developing that, where we're really almost sort of setting up sort of franchises in different areas to put on promotions and put on demos and get people out playing. Because once people get a stick in their hands, they fall in love with it.
Yeah.
And so that's really our job, is to get the sticks in people's hands.
Yeah. Well, you talked about your background in lacrosse, and I'm sure your mind's already gone there, and maybe you've already initiated this, but it seems to me that with both box lacrosse and being up in Canada here. It's I watched a lot of that at friends that played at a high level, and there's pro leagues now, as you know, with that too, but also in NCAA Division I field lacrosse. You've got all these players that once they're done their career there, they've got really nothing to do. Are you finding, because of the skill that they have already with that, how can I put this? Are you gravitating towards showing up there with fling sticks and saying, hey guys, you already love doing this, you got the motion down? It seems to me that would be a natural breeding ground for the next generation of competitive elite fling golfers.
Yeah. And we are seeing more and more sort of that 24, 25-year-old lacrosse player coming into it, because you can't keep up on playing lacrosse forever. It's hard to put teams together and find fields so that skill does come across naturally to fling golf. We've got, I'd say, maybe 20% of our players are lacrosse players. So it's not all lacrosse players, but it is a skill that translates very well, and people pick it up really easy. You can see the lacrosse players because they're like, they're cradling the ball and then firing it away. And you can see the ones that are doing that.
There we go. Yeah. Okay, to finish up here, I had a couple questions about gameplay and community building here. So on the gameplay side, could you explain again, like a typical round, how it works for people that may be new to the sport? You already talked about how it differs from a traditional golf club. We have all that. And you talk about shaping your shots here. But let's say on a traditional, let's say a par 4, let's say it's the first hole. Are you playing from the traditional tees? How do you decide where you're going to play? You're playing for the tips? Are you playing from closer tees? So even tell me about that as far as when you're playing. Are you playing traditional distances of between 6,000 and 7,000 yards when you're out there playing? So tell us a little bit about the gameplay.
Yeah, generally we suggest playing somewhere around 5,800 to 6,000 yards. Pick those tees, and if you play those, you'll be pretty good, all the way around. You can't quite get as much distance as you can from a driver, but you can fire it out there pretty far. So you can get, if you're throwing a 185, you can throw 185 your second shot too, pretty accurately. So you get that, you'll end up getting to the par 4s. Par 4s, actually, a long par 4 is probably the most difficult one for us. Par 5 you can get to in 3. Yeah. Almost always. But par 4 you might not be able to get to. For our tournament play, we do change the tees. We have a women's spot, master spot, and a men's spot, and we do put the tees together in different places for those. But yeah, it's just you take your shots, you count your shots, you take your first one off the tee box, you put a mark down, you can take a few steps back, and then you take a few steps, and you just have to throw it before you get to that mark again. And then you get to the green and you putt it, or there's also a thing called a sidecar. It's hard to show on a podcast, but you basically put the ball's on the ground like that, and then you sort of scoop it like that. Okay. And that gets to be a pretty accurate shot. So you can do that either on the green or just off the green. So, but you can do a bump and run. There's all kinds of people are coming up with shots all the time, which is fun, and they're naming them, which is great.
I bet. Okay, to finish up here, like the growth of the scale is amazing, and I congratulate you for what you've done. I believe you're over 2,000 golf courses now that you've introduced Fling Golf to, and you have players in over 35 countries. So I'd like to hear a story with a country, a player that you have that, let's say, is the most exotic, or maybe that you went, really? That's interesting. So can you share a story there of someone from a country that you're like, wow, I didn't think that was going to be one of the first ones?
Yeah, no, there are a few. Well, interestingly, we're in a lot of countries. The U.S. Air Force has a lot of fling sticks. So they have 27 courses now have fling sticks on them, and they rent them out. So that brings in Japan and Korea and Germany. I just sent sticks down to, I think, a guy, Isaiah, with the Afriye Golf Academy.
Oh, and in Uganda, who I've had on the podcast.
He's just getting the sticks now.
Sticks. Oh, that's amazing.
So yeah, he wanted to try them out. He wanted to check them out and give them to his kids down there and the students there. So that's, that covers Uganda there, and we'll see. I think we're going to see some things from Isaiah coming out pretty soon on that. We had one guy who, I think he lived in Italy, and he just took a stick all over sort of Europe, Eastern Europe, played just a lot of different courses. But it's really exciting is our guy, Paul Barron, over in the UK. He's a golf course owner, and he loves playing so much that he started up the Fling Golf UK chapter.
Right.
and he's playing all over Europe also. And but he's really trying to go out in all the golf courses over in the UK and having really good success so far.
Love this. So what are we talking here? The 2040 Olympic Games that Fling Golf is
I
going
think,
to be an event?
yeah, that sounds about right. Maybe a little before that. We'll see.
There we go. There we go. Now, I got to say, Gary is a super fan here. Put it out here. He's the one that's showing us some love here in chat here today. So we'll keep putting up Gary's post here. He honestly wager that a traditional golfer set their ego aside playing fling golf a few times, better than at traditional golf. Swings are the same, just different arcs. So he's, look at him. He's just one example of hundreds, if not thousands, of ambassadors and supporters that you have out there that are spreading the fling golf gospel out there for you.
Yeah, no, exactly. Gary's fantastic. He's been really a great ambassador this last year or so, and he's going places definitely in the World League FlingGolf, and you know, a lot of it is about sort of personality and character too, and social media, and growing the game that way as well. And so we've got a lot more players that are doing that and getting out there and really showing what they love. So it's fun to see.
Love that. So, hey, to finish up there, once again, I put up the URL for your website there. So flinggolf.com, nice and simple. We were showing you the screen share there earlier of all the great things that that Alex and the team in Fling Golf are doing. So I've got to say, when I first met you a couple of years ago and saw this, even though I'm an innovator, open-minded, I was even looking at this as like, I'm not really quite sure.
Right? You're not the only one.
I'm a convert now. I would love to get a fling stick in my hand. I'm gonna have to order one myself here.
We'll get you one.
I'll bring it out here in Vancouver. So you've won me over. I'm a believer. I'm a supporter now. I'm not going to actually take my traditional club out of my hand, but I may be flinging it and swinging it. So there you go.
You can put a stick right in your bag, and you're good to go. And just to finish up, the PGA show this year was incredible because it was that transition from people being like, "What the hell is that?" or people were like, "Oh, I know what that is. I've seen people playing that. It's really cool." And it was just a very positive sort of vibe from the traditional golf scene. So it was really cool to see.
Love this. Love this. So, hey, why don't we finish up there? So once again, Alex Van Alen, CEO, founder of Fling Golf. Love what you're doing. I'm going to have to get out and fling one myself. So yeah, I will definitely be ordering one. There we go. I've said it. I put it. It's now captured for eternity here on the ModGolf YouTube channel. So yeah, I'd love to get one in my bag and have some fun and show up, and perhaps I can convert some Canadians into flinging on the golf course there. So hey, Alex, again, thanks for joining me today on ModGolf Live. This has been great. Love what you're doing.
Thanks so much, Colin. I really appreciate it.
All right, you take care. Have a great week.
All right,
see you soon.
Take care.
All right, boom.